So what is the best skill to have as a good advocate?
It's a difficult question to answer, because I think, and I hope I'm not sitting too much on the fence here, but I don't think there is one particular skill that that a barrister needs to have. I think that the beauty of advocacy is everyone has their own different style. People have different strengths and weaknesses. Some people can achieve just as good a result in a devastating cross-examination as they can negotiating beforehand, and still get an ideal and good result for their clients. So everyone has their own individual style. Everyone has their own individual strengths and weaknesses. And I think advocacy is more about highlighting your particular strengths and your particular skills. But I think if I tried to narrow it down to what I think I try to focus on as much as I can, I think it's very difficult to get past just the ability and need to work very hard for an extended period of time. I think that slightly transcends everything, really. If you put hard work into your preparation, into the way you conduct your advocacy in court, the way you deal with your clients, and put effort into building relationships with solicitors, and generally just putting the effort in, I think that is something which I've seen to be a very consistent feature in some of the advocates I look up to, and I really admire, just their ability to work very hard for long periods of time, for many years, not just for the short term. I think secondly, and it's one that I stole from an advocate on a Q&A session a few years ago, actually. I think the ability to work with people and get on with people, and be just generally be quite nice and be a nice person. I think that's quite an important skill. I think it's quite an underrated skill. My job, at least, and especially in criminal law, we're dealing with people every day. Every day I'm talking to a different person. It's a different judge, or it's a different client, or it's a different solicitor, or different court clerk, different usher. And I think if you can get on with people, it makes your day easier, it makes their day easier, it helps you get to, I think, the outcome you're looking for easier. And also perhaps it goes into the hard work element of it. It helps you enjoy your job. If you're having nice, pleasant interactions with people and getting hopefully positive results out of it, it helps you to enjoy the job, helps you keep going for the long term and maintain that passion, I think. So those are two things which I think are quite important in the work we do.
Great advice there, Jazz. And I completely echo what you say there. So thank you. Beth, any thoughts to add to that?
Yeah, I think that hard work and preparation is always going to be the sort of stock answer. And I think that's going to come up in response to quite a few of the certainly prepared questions that we've received. I think another skill, which sometimes is overlooked, I think, when we think about advocacy, is the ability to listen. That's listen to your opponent, to what they're saying. The number of times I've been in court in Second Six and I've, for example, conceded an issue, and yet my opponent has still pursued it as an issue in the closing speech, and the judge just said, "Did you not listen to what your learned friend has just said? She's conceded that. You don't need to raise that point." So I think being able to listen is going to help you to narrow down the issues and only deal with the things that really need to be dealt with. The other key thing is to really listen to the judge when the judge is asking you a question, because sometimes when you do your preparation, you might identify a sort of problematic area for you in your case, and you think, oh gosh, he's definitely going to ask me about that. And sometimes when the judge does ask you a question, you can think they're asking you about that, and actually they're asking you about something completely different. So listen really closely to the question, ask for clarification if you need it, and answer it in the knowledge that you've fully understood that question and what the judge wants from you. And sometimes the judge is giving you a bit of a direction. He or she is trying to lead you down a path, because that's what they want you to deal with. So take your next steps from where the judge is leading you.
Great advice there, Beth. And lastly, Robert, any final points on what makes a good advocate?
Well, I think those are all very apt, but to come up with something slightly different for the sake of variety, I would say versatility, in a word. I think if you want to see the importance of versatility, you only need to go as far as watching some of the Court of Appeal hearings, which are available online. When you watch those hearings, you see sometimes the judge will be prepared to be guided by your submissions, and Of course, in a moot, that's usually what happens. They're interested in what you've got to say and how you want to structure it and set it out. But other times, and particularly when you see the Court of Appeal, the judges will have read the papers. They'll come to the hearing with a specific predetermined view of the issues, what those issues are and how they want to get about resolving them. And they'll have specific questions or concerns that they want to raise in line with that view. And another thing I think on versatility, which is you see this a lot in mooting, I certainly have, counsel being asked a question and saying, well, I'm going to come to that. So if you could just bear with me, give me 5 minutes, and that's part of my, my second submission or my third submission. And I thought tonight watching the moot, Matthew did that very well, because he was asked a question and put in that position. And he said, well, that is part of my second submission, but as it's been raised now, we'll move straight on to it. If you don't answer the question that the judge has at that moment, all they're going to be thinking about until you do answer it is that question. So you're basically wasting air and time and energy by not moving on to that point. So versatility, being prepared to obviously have the course that you want to set out in your submissions, but being prepared to realize that the court isn't with you on that and wants to perhaps hear them in a different way, hear them in a different order. That is fundamental to being a prepared advocate and turning up for court.
Great advice from all of our panelists there.